Can you all remember back to the time when you drove that insane distance just to purchase a lonely apple you probably didn't even eat? Trust me, I feel you. As I increasingly disdained driving 20 minutes to Walmart, my pantry slowly became void of crisps, cookies, and of course, my dear old club crackers. Well, such a sad reality is the effect of an evolution that is touching our world's soul, suburbanization. For many of us, owning a single-family house symbolizes wealth, purity, and solitude from our ever-infiltrating homework and research projects. The rich and famous were the first to exploit this principle in America's revolutionary times, building their Airbnb vacation homes outside the daily grunt of America's cities. However, the cities only lost their aesthetic and social charm during the mass migrations of Scots-Irish immigrants, transforming what is now Wall Street into a land reminiscent of the infamous slum Einsatz and Daniel Craig's film Defiance. The settled generations disdained such a change by a foreign force and increasingly viewed the outside Pure Lands as a place to join. Even as the immigrants changed from Central Europeans to predominantly African Americans escaping the Jim Crow lands, the settled generation had higher paying jobs that let them more easily move to the single family homes of the suburbs. This caused a lot of geographic segregation, to the point that in 1960, the New York suburb of Levittown, which is often referred to as the first mass-produced suburb, had a minority population of only 5%. That's 1 in 20 people. Now you may be wondering, I have friends of all races and religions living in my suburb. You're wrong about your claims. Well, that's exactly what I'm going to prove in the rest of this presentation. It turns out that geographic segregation is capsizing under a third world force, literally, coming from 8,000 miles away in India. India's majority religion of Hinduism values space as a measure of wealth. However, the average Joe working that roadside dabba shop would in no way be able to afford much more than that measly one-bedroom apartment the size of a dorm room. Without affordable universities like Penn State, for example, many of India's smart people would be unable to obtain the education necessary to get high-paying jobs. This would all change in 1952, when Prime Minister J.C. Nehru started the Indian Institute of Technology, or IIT, which was India's first free public university. While IIT was intended to rebuild India's infrastructure after its revolution, it turned out that the IIT graduates were so qualified that they could get high-paying jobs in first world countries. The Indians increasingly inundated the once uniracial suburbs of the USA, given that their IT jobs let them afford that all-essential car in a land dominated by superhighways and lacking of work buses. Okay, so a minority population outside the city center is already a big departure, but what's a big deal when this population is dispersed over such a large area? Such a novel taint would have a really little impact in day-to-day life, but the Indians brought another ideology with them, that their workplace should be close to home. Many of them went from walking only 5 minutes to their roadside dabba shop to now driving 45 minutes through traffic and road rage to get to their downtown office, and they increasingly wanted their office to come closer to home. From this germinated the Edge City, which is a collection of office and retail within the suburban belt. Finally, Indians and other immigrant groups for that matter could convene in the suburbs, where the Edge City offered them a place to live, work, and play together. Just take a look at Metuchen, New Jersey, home of the honestly rowdy crowds of Apna Bazaar Cash and Carry and the sari shops of Oak Tree Road, where 65% of the population is Gujarati Indian. Such a minority population outside the city center was unfathomable only a couple years back, but the Edge City explains why you'll see people of all races and religions convening in the suburbs where they can share their values together. Now, there's no doubt that the recent presidential election will shake up immigration trends into these suburbs. But that being said, Americans have perennially valued wealth, purity, and solitude affected with a single-family house. And I don't think the suburb will be going anytime soon. So please, be happy that when going to get your groceries, you can at least drive in the comfort of your car, while there are others in this world who have to walk 15 minutes through torrential rain and littered avenues, only to arrive back in that measly one-bedroom apartment the size of a Penn State dorm room. Thank you.